You know, when you think about programming languages, your mind probably jumps to cold, hard logic, right? Code that's written for machines. But what if a language was designed first and foremost for people? What if its number one goal was to actually bring joy and simplicity to the whole process of creating something? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today with Ruby, a language built not just for computers, but for human happiness.
And believe me, this is not just some clever marketing tagline. This quote from Ruby's creator, Yukihiro Matsumoto, or Mats as everybody knows him, gets right to the absolute heart of the matter. The entire language is built around this one idea, making the experience of programming feel intuitive and, yeah, even fun.
So where did this whole idea even come from? Well, to really get Ruby, you've got to understand the vision of the person who created it.
To really appreciate why Ruby was even created, you kind of have to picture the world back in the early 90s. Mats felt like something was missing. He wanted the pure object-oriented style of a language like Smalltalk, but he also wanted the practical, get-things-done scripting power of Perl. No single language felt quite right. So, in 1995, he released the first version in Japan, and by the 2000s, as the web exploded, Ruby was taking the world by storm.
This whole vision wasn't just some vague concept. It was built on some really solid principles. The most famous one, of course, is developer happiness. And that isn't just about feeling good. It's about reducing the mental gymnastics you have to do. When a language is clean, it just frees up your brain to be creative. And this is backed up by ideas like pure object orientation, where everything behaves in a consistent way, and the brilliant principle of least surprise, which just means the code should work exactly how you'd expect it to. No weird gotchas.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the philosophy, right? But what does developer happiness actually look like when you're typing away? Well, it all starts with a language that honestly, a lot of the time, just reads like plain English.
And this comparison right here says it all. On the left, you've got a more mechanical, machine-focused approach that you see in a lot of other languages. And yeah, it gets the job done. But look at the right. That's the Ruby way. You're literally telling an array of numbers, for each one of you, do this action. It's way more descriptive, it's cleaner, and honestly, it's just so much easier for a human to read.
Now, the secret sauce that makes all this possible is a feature called blocks. Think of a block as a little self-contained to-do list that you can just hand over to a method. It's an on-the-spot set of instructions. So in this example, we're just saying, hey, number 3, I need you to run this little piece of code 3 times. It's an incredibly powerful and really, really expressive feature. And see, this all ties back to that idea of pure object orientation. In a lot of languages, things like numbers or strings are just primitive data. But in Ruby, everything is a powerful object with its own built-in abilities. A number isn't just a value, it's an object that knows how to repeat an action, like we just saw. And that consistency is what makes the language feel so elegant. Okay, so you simply cannot talk about Ruby's story without talking about the one framework that just blew it up. I mean, it took it from a kind of niche language to an absolute global phenomenon. And it completely changed how we build stuff for the web. The year is 2004. A developer named David Heinemeier Hansen is building a project management tool called Basecamp. He pulls out the framework he created for it and releases it to the world. That framework? Ruby on Rails. And it was an absolute bombshell.
So what Rails did was it took that same human-first philosophy from Ruby and applied it to the super messy world of web development. It pushed principles that were so influential they're pretty much standard practice today. Don't repeat yourself, cut down on redundant code, while convention over configuration was the real game changer. It basically said, hey, stop wasting hours on boring setup. We've made the smart choices for you. Now go build cool stuff.
So, the million-dollar question, right? Did this whole philosophy actually work out in the real world? Oh yeah. The answer is a huge, resounding yes. I mean, just look at this list of companies that were built on Rails. GitHub, the home for all modern software development. Shopify, the absolute engine of e-commerce. Airbnb, which totally changed travel. This is the incredible legacy of building for developer happiness.
But look, that was then. And you know how fast the tech world moves. So the question is Ruby just a one-hit wonder with Rails, or has it managed to stay relevant in today's world? Okay, one of the biggest knocks on Ruby back in the day was speed. But let me tell you, the core team has been absolutely relentless about that. With the release of Ruby 3, we saw massive speed improvements. We're talking up to 3 times faster than older versions. That makes it a serious contender for modern applications.
And it's not just for websites anymore, not by a long shot. Its super clean, readable syntax has made it a huge favorite for automation and scripting, in the DevOps world, powering essential tools like Chef and Puppet. It's also fantastic for building powerful APIs, and we're seeing it used more and more for data processing pipelines too.
When you really boil it down, it all comes back to this unique blend of art and science, and I think this thought just captures it perfectly. Ruby gives you a canvas where you can write code that has the elegance of poetry but the strength and reliability of real engineering.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? In this new age of AI, where we're coding side by side with machines, does a language that was built from the ground up for human joy, for clarity, and for intuition become not just relevant, but maybe more important than ever?